I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Wrestling with Sales. Today, we are talking about bringing a promotion together, putting something together, getting an event up and off the ground. It's something that is unique to pro wrestling, but definitely applicable to really anything because you have to have that vision to make it work. And with second generation pro wrestling, the person in charge of that vision putting the show together, Joseph DeFalco III. Joe, thanks for joining us here. We're getting ready for Go for Broke from Second Gen Pro coming up here really soon on Memorial Day weekend. How does it feel getting everything put together? Because it's been a lot of work, I'm sure, to get to this point.
Absolutely. Handling all the graphics, obviously, the promotion behind it, putting the matches together, with some cancellations, some moving things around here and there. But we finally got the card set, and 12 days out, more than enough time for me to be able to promote. So getting those matches out, we're excited. We got 9 matches on the main card as well as 2 pre-shows. So if you're going to be coming live, you'll be able to catch those in person. If not, you'll be able to catch those on YouTube, Facebook, wherever after the fact. But to catch those 2 pre-show matches live, you have to be there.
Because it's a huge week of wrestling in Las Vegas. Jordan Oasis, he's following the Nomad's path right now out in the desert. Streets unknown, finding his way to the FSW Arena. And joining him there will be, in my opinion, the best European champion of all time. A member of the Nation of Domination and Las Vegas wrestling legend himself, D'Lo Brown. D'Lo, thanks for joining us here on Wrestling with Sales.
What's going on, guys? I just got to tell you, George right now is showing you what kind of tough SOB he is. He's standing in the middle of the damn desert. It is 100 degrees outside at 7:30 at night, and that brother's standing out there, full beard, for everybody to see. Well done, young man. Well done.
It is. It's impressive.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot coming from a legend.
And Jordan, are you going to be walking to the FSW Arena with your backpack?
You know, the thing about being a nomad, a lot of people think that, oh, that means you're homeless. Oh, that means you hitchhike. Oh, that means you just walk into it. No. Especially, it's 2023. Being a nomad, there's hostels, there's Airbnb, there's, I might hitch a ride every now and then, But of course, I'm going to have my backpack. I left my backpack at the hostel. It's, locked up and secure. So I'm just out, doing a little run. Figured I'd stop, take a break, hop on this podcast really quick.
Yeah, and you're following your own path, and that path is leading you to Second Gen Pro Go for Broke. You're going to be in a triple threat match.
We've actually updated that match. We've made it a 4-way elimination. We had a DMC from Florida, so he is the 4th man in that match.
So DMC is now in the match.
Correct. He is now in the match. DMC.
All right. So I have Jared Diaz, Richard King, and now DMC. So I have yet another person who is going to come to my city on my weekend, right? And try to, okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. You want to add a 4th person? It's your show. Just know I'm going to walk away with a W. I'm going to beat all 3 of them.
We'll see about that. The odds are stacked, but 4-way elimination, never know what can happen.
All right.
Well, and hey, while we have you on, Jordan, I want to say I'm impressed with the work you've been doing, the dedication you show, and just the way you kind of embody the spirit. You come in there, throw the bag down, take care of the match, and then you're out of there. And nobody better mess with your backpack.
That's right. See, my backpack, a lot of people are curious as to what's inside. And I mean, if they want to try to find out, I mean, you can try. You can do that. You can just try. But I think you're going to find yourself having a 241-pound, 6'4" problem with that, being myself. But if you want to continue to try, then, I always welcome. People are always more than welcome to the Oasis. So
there we go. And hey, Joseph and D'Lo, I think Jordan really kind of represents what you're going for with this show, because you're trying to show what it takes and what people have to put in to climb up to that next level, to be next. And I think Jordan's done a great job of showing the amount of dedication it takes to be next. And D'Lo, I know just from talking to people with the Las Vegas wrestling scene, you've been extremely influential in developing this next generation of wrestlers. How does it
Well,
feel to see a show like this go together?
it's amazing to see what the talent here in Las Vegas has become over the last 8 to 10 years. Um, it has become one of the mainstays, one of the meccas of professional wrestling on the West Coast, and hell, dare I say, the entire nation. And Jordan is just an example of that. He's showing the world what he can do. He's putting his stamp on his abilities, and he wants to put it out there for everybody to see. And it doesn't matter if it's a singles or a two or a three-way or a four-way match. Jordan is going to show out because that's what we do out here at FSW and the West Coast. That's what we do.
Jordan, how does that feel? How do you feel for that vote of confidence from D'Lo?
It means the world. You know, D'Lo's been in the business, around the business for decades. He is a legend and done damn near everything that you can and want to achieve in this business. So those words, you know, D'Lo, sir, thank you very much. I don't take those lightly. Those mean a lot coming from you. And with words like that, if I go into a fatal four-way like this, a huge match representing not only FSW, not only Las Vegas, but the West Coast, and then I lose, that's not going to look very good, and it's not going to look very good for D'Lo and the words he's speaking about me right now. So, with that being said, not only have I had this, you know, a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but ever since I started doing things my way, right, things have been looking up. Things have been looking very nice for me. So, yeah, like you said, I take my backpack, I go into the ring, I handle business, and I go exactly the way I came because I'm on my own path. I'm on my own journey. It's a payday for me, and I get to do what I love. So absolutely. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. May 28th, I'm going to walk into the ring against three other people now, and then I'm going to beat them all, and I'm going to go exactly right back on my path like I was doing.
Well, and I think that's about all that needs to be said there because, Jordan, you're kind of calling your shot there, and it really doesn't even matter who the fourth person is. It's a matter of one man against the world, and I think Las Vegas's own Nomad, Jordan Oasis, calling a win there. Thanks for joining us here, Jordan.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm gonna put this phone here back in my pocket, continue my little workout. But I appreciate y'all having me. D'Lo, sir, it's an honor, and thank you for the kind words once again.
It's a pleasure. I'll see you this weekend, my man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Jordan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. As a dealer, you spend a lot of time buying cars at auction. If you're using Edge Pipeline to manage your purchases, then this is big news. Montway Auto Transport has partnered with Auction Edge to add a transportation option onto Edge Pipeline. Now dealers can manage their auction buys and book transportation with just one click right in the Edge Pipeline platform. As a nationwide leader in auto transport, Montway understands a dealer's need for speed and efficiency and can arrange single or multi-vehicle moves from auction to any lot in the country. With Montway's technology, dealers can gain full transit visibility and tracking after an order has been booked, making it much easier to manage inventory. Buy, ship, and track all in Edge Pipeline. Go to www.montway.com/WS to learn more. So, talk to the Nomad there. Like you said, D'Lo out in the desert in 100-degree heat. And now we're going to kind of rattle through some of the other wrestlers that are going to be on the show. And I know, Joseph, when we talked on Las Vegas wrestling scene, you said that a big part of this show is you wanted to have on the people that you feel kind of embody pro wrestling today. And I think you've accomplished your goal with the card you have. You have a lot of really talented wrestlers from a good cross section of the country.
Yep, I'm very excited. Like, once everything got put together and looking at it a couple hours ago, now that everything is officially set, it's like, I don't want to say I'm going to have one of the best cards of the weekend, but I just might with everything out there. And once that show happens, I know it's the end of the weekend. So hopefully hopefully the par, again, we know the talent that's on the rest of the weekend is going to be up there, but hopefully the talent level brings everything to the next level and we show out and put on the best show of the week with everybody on that one show together. Like I said, I'm looking to pull everybody from that entire week and weekend and put them into one show because you wanted to see more of them from the day before or 2 days before, Thursday through Saturday, and they're all on that show on Sunday. So hopefully everybody mixes well together and we put on the best event.
Well, and I think something that I've wanted to ask you this too, D'Lo, because you've had a lot of impact in Las Vegas with the Snake Pit Wrestling, with all the people that you've trained, but also your involvement in WWE and Impact Wrestling, and of course FSW. How does it feel seeing this rebirth, this renaissance of pro wrestling where the independents are really kind of coming together and almost forming those territories of old? And then you have WWE having a resurgence, AEW now saying they're going to come to Las Vegas every Memorial Day. And as of this recording, rumored to be on the verge of signing a new long-term deal with Warner Brothers. So they're going to be right up there now at a major level, just like they've been with WWE. Impact doing some great work. New Japan, MLW, Ring of Honor. It's just a huge resurgence of wrestling over the last few years.
You used the right word when you called it a renaissance. What is going on right now is the fan base is falling back in love with professional wrestling. And for a long time, they fell out of love. Through the mid 2000s, it was kind of spotty there. But then, over the last few years with the birth of AEW and I hate to use this term, to keep using it over and over, but when the forbidden door opened up and you get these matchups that you didn't think you would ever see in a million years, all of a sudden they're right in front of you, not on TV, but right in the arena, right in front of you. They were just a dream before, and now they're commonplace. This has thrown just high test gasoline on the wrestling fire, and has just rekindled everyone's love for it. And it's motivated me a lot. I know it's motivated Joey. It's you can see by this card here, because I've always been told when the brightest lights are turned on, you have two choices. Either you wilt under the spotlight or you shine your brightest. And I believe Joey's put on a card where FSW, when the entire wrestling world's going to be looking at Las Vegas, they're going to be like the Luxor spotlight shining out in this city where there's tons of lights and you're going to see it from space. Like, that's how important this card is in the landscape of wrestling and the total resurgence of professional wrestling.
Yeah, let me ask you guys about one of the matches that kind of jumped out to me. Jordan Oliver, Jake Cartwheel. I mean, a couple of the star independent wrestlers going right now. They're going to be having a match for the JCW, the Jersey Championship title in Las Vegas. How did that one come about?
Well, we're obviously friendly with Brett Lauderdale over at GCW, who also runs Jersey Championship Wrestling out in Jersey. So I hit him up. I had Jordan Oliver set for the card, and, well, he's a world champion. So why wouldn't I have a world champion defend their title if able? So I reached out to Brett, and within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he said, yeah, absolutely no problem. Who do you think he's going to work? And then I pitched who I thought would be a fantastic match in Jack Cartwheel, and hit up Jack Cartwheel, got the match set within a couple hours, and that was, I believe, my first match announced. Because why wait to put out that is going to be the main event, so why wait to put out the main event?
Very true. And that's one of those kind of matches, like you were saying, like you just didn't see happening. You didn't see those inter-promotional matches going on.
You got the JCW world champion coming to defend his title in Las Vegas. Just repeat that a couple times and think about that. That is, once again, that dream matchup where you never thought you'd see it, but it's going to be right in front of your eyes for you to watch and enjoy. And this is kind of match here that could quietly steal the show. Both talented individuals, both can go, both have a hard-hitting style. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching Jordan Oliver's advancement too, because I remember seeing him in MLW not that long ago, and he's really just kept advancing as he's gotten involved in the GCW. And that's a great connection that you have teaming up with GCW. And I know one of the other names that jumped out at me that's on the card, Billy Starks, another one of the highest regarded independent wrestlers, getting ready to go to AEW, but she's going to be involved in the event too.
Yep, like I said, made sure I had to get her set because it might be one of the last times she's able to work certain independent companies or certain dates, especially on a Sunday where AEW is prominent to run their pay-per-views, especially with a talented individual like that. I don't see why she wouldn't make those sooner rather than later. So to get her on these shows is very important. And she's going to be working Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we got her all 3 events, and I get to cap it off. And she'll be working Matt Vandegrift. So it's going to be Billy Starks versus Matt Vandegrift.
Okay.
On that Sunday. Yeah.
So getting a little intergender wrestling and the aerial chemist getting into the action too.
Yeah, I feel there'll be a very, very good mix for each other. They have similar enough styles that I think they'd clash very, very well. And looking across from each other at the ring, I think that's a great matchup.
And what are some of the other matches that are really interesting you, kind of zoning in on? I know you mentioned that Juicy Finau, one of the Samoan SWAT team, is going to be involved. He just got added on.
Correct. So we had a Juicy. The other day we got Hammerstone announced as well. So I was going to announce Tito and Hammerstone, but then Juicy, I forgot, was going to be able to be around because he had so much going on and he decided to stick around in Vegas Memorial Day weekend. So we added Hammerstone, Tito Escondido, and Juicy to the card. So it was going to be a triple threat match, which is also why we made that triple threat elimination a 4-way elimination. So that way the card wasn't looking too similar in match styles and match types.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, isn't it? When you're trying to put on that show together and balance it out, even though you have a total of 11 matches, 2 pre-show, 9 in the actual card, which is going to be streamed on Fite Plus TV. Correct. Just a little bit before the AEW pay-per-view, so you got time to go to both.
Yep. Plenty of time to get good.
How hard is it to balance out the show? Because you got all this talent and you got to get them involved and you got to kind of intersperse it.
Absolutely. We definitely had I was going to say a draft or 2, but we probably had 8 to 9 different drafts of the card just based on who may or may not be available. We were waiting on specifics for certain people and yes or no's. So I had a couple different cards, a couple different scenarios going, and I think I meshed everything well and mixed it all up enough that it makes sense and it's going to be a card to remember. There's no reason that it's not going to look clunked together because there was more than plenty of thought put into every single match, the styles, the looks, the similar heights, the weights, everything. Like everything is set to look pleasing to the eyes. A mash of colors and heights and weights and everything that should flow on paper and in person, fantastic. So hopefully everything, like I said, flows the way I'm hoping it does.
There's a lot that goes into it because I know the old cliche is styles make fights. And D'Lo, you were involved in doing the commentary on one of the matches that I think really was probably one of the best matches on pro wrestling TV ever, but definitely one of the best of the pandemic era, the Iron Man match with the walking weapon Josh Alexander against TJP, who we just had on recently. And when you get that match where the two guys, 2 ladies or tag teams really click, that really is what creates the magic of pro wrestling. And I know you had a chance to be able to commentate on that one. A match like that kind of signifies what pro wrestling can be when it hits that level.
Absolutely. And I remember that night after the match was over, going to both gentlemen, telling the honor was mine. They had the ability to call that match because it was so incredible. And it like if I could put a wrestling match in a space capsule and send it out to go, this is pro wrestling, I would send that out because that was a great example of what professional wrestling is. And it was an honor and a privilege to actually call that match, to be part of it in a small way. Yeah, I get goosebumps right now. I'm thinking about it, I'm getting goosebumps. That's how good that match was.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention that just to let people know what kind of thought is going into putting on this card, putting on Second Gen Pros Go for Broke. Just like we said, it's Sunday, May 28th at the FSW Arena, noon Pacific. You can see it right here on Fite TV. And, definitely, I think it's going to be a really entertaining show. And I can tell the work that's gone into it because there's so many high-end wrestlers. I know we talked about some of them. Jordan Cruz coming in for the show.
Yeah, we got Jordan Cruz coming down from California. He's been making a statement in FSW for a year or two now, but you can see how he's elevated, and the crowd's starting to get was starting to get behind him, but before he decided to turn their back on them. But he's slowly progressed, and to say slowly progressed and gotten better when he was already fantastic and was in great shape and looks the part is hard to say, but he slowly progressed and gotten better and better and better every time you saw him, and there's no rhyme or reason why, again, adding great talent to the card, and he's available and was one of the first people that I wanted to bring on. Got him set, so excited to announce his match either tonight or tomorrow. But I know from this recording it'll be already announced. But
yeah,
got to keep it a surprise because there is some mystery to that match going on. So,
well, one that just got announced got Los Suavecitos against Culture Inc. So a little tag team work going on. How do you feel about that match? What are these two tag teams bringing to the table that jumped out at you?
Well, Los Suavecitos obviously been with FSW now for 2-3 years training, and they're making waves everywhere. They just had picked up a win in Canada. They're down in Mexico. They're flying over to New York, Texas, California, Oregon, Prestige Wrestling. I can name a dozen places that they're going, and they're making waves and they're getting their name out there. So it's just natural to bring a home state tag team. Again, try not to use too many future stars of wrestling guys, but there's no reason not to use the best that are in this city, and the Suavecitos are one of the best. They're going to Canada and Mexico, and there's reasons that they're going those places. It's because they made a name for themselves, and people want to see them or, again, book them because they believe their fans would want to see them, whether it's Canada, Mexico, New York, or all over the country or different countries. And Culture Inc., coming right from Reality of Wrestling, they've been making waves, and I believe couple months ago they had a match with our main faction, Lights Camera Faction, down in Texas.
Faction, yeah,
correct. So they're making waves, and we're crossing lines already with companies, so why not bring down one of the best from Reality of Wrestling in Culture Inc. Again, Nick Holiday, NJ Holiday is already down with us in Vegas. He's on our commentary team often, so why not bring down, again, one of the best tag teams in the country to mix it up with one of our best from the state.
And for people that are looking at tuning into the show, I mean, they could literally be seeing not just the second gen pro wrestling show, the next generation pro wrestling show, but they could be seeing the next generation of the major pro wrestlers, the people that they're going to tune into on a Monday night, on a Wednesday night, on a Friday night, on a Thursday night. I mean, when you're competing in independent territories, crisscrossing the country, you're right there. It's really just a matter of, I would imagine, D'Lo, it's just a matter of the right one person seeing the match and saying, hey, they're it. I mean, they're really competing in this kind of show for not just themselves, but for the WWE, for AEW, for Impact Wrestling, for New Japan, MLW, GCW. I mean, they're all looking for that next talent, and they may well be on this show.
Absolutely right. And, this is what you call a measuring stick kind of a card, where you're going to measure yourself up against a talent you're in the ring with. You're going to measure yourself up against the person who's in the first match, who's in the third match, who's in the main event. You're going to see where you stand in the pecking order of what is going to be the next 10 years of professional wrestling. And I can guarantee you this, and I don't make a lot of guarantees, someone on this card that will be on national television in the next year or two. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
That's how much talent is going to be here in Las Vegas. I can guarantee you someone, if not multiple people, will be on national television in the next year or two.
Now, when you're teaching wrestlers, when you're advising the young wrestlers, what advice do you give them when they go into a match? Because they have to be thinking in a way that, hey, I could be competing right now for the eyes of Vince McMahon, Tony Khan, Scott D'Amore. What do you tell them to bring into the match and do the job, but
No,
not get locked up because of tension?
ironically, I tell them not to bring that into the match. I tell them to think about that at home. When they walk into the building, they're having the same match they've had 1,000 times. Just go out there and do it. Just go nail it. Don't worry about who's watching. Not now. Worry about that after the match is done. If you worry about things other than the match during the match, that's when you make the mistake where
Yep.
you don't ever get hired. So, yeah, you're allowed to have that pressure on you until you walk through the curtain. And once you walk through the curtain, then it's lights on, time to go to work. You don't think about anything else besides your opponent and the match you're about to have.
No, it's great advice, because if you get too locked up, and this is true in anything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
market to a lot of salespeople. You go in, you're trying to close the deal, and you're looking past the close. You're thinking, okay, man, I got this. I need this one. I
Mm-hmm.
got it. Those are the ones you end up missing. So same
Absolutely.
thing with the match.
Those are the ones you stumble on, and someone else comes and takes it away. And here out in Vegas, we don't let opportunities slide past us too often because you never know if another one may ever show up. So you need to be ready, prepared to grab a hold of it and never let it go for the rest of your damn career if this opportunity is presented to you.
And I think, Joey, and putting this show together, you kind of grasp a hold of that, because you want to make the biggest impact you can as you're
Absolutely.
going to this show, putting it on pay-per-view, having it on the AEW pay-per-view weekend, on the holiday weekend. I mean, just a big event, and this is something that can build moving forward with your promotion.
Absolutely. Like I said, running on the Sunday before AEW, I believe, was the best time to run. We're going to have everybody who's there for the pay-per-view because, again, running between Wednesday and Sunday, it's hard to keep everybody, oh, I'm going to get a hotel room for 4 days because I want to catch all the AEW shows, or I'll just fly in for the pay-per-view. Well, people are going to be there early. What are they looking to do? Or they're there from the night before. It's easier to stay the weekend than a Thursday or a Friday or a Wednesday in Vegas if you have work. Well, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday ideally has everybody there, and Sunday's the day of the pay-per-view, so I would hope that has the most people there. There's no reason a Saturday would before the event. So even if it's a 1% of that crowd that comes, well, they're going to have 25,000, 30,000 people there. I'll take 200 people and stuff them into this arena, and it's going to be standing room only because, again, once people see the card, and I'm going to be handing out flyers and having marketing on Instagram and Facebook that's pushing to the correct algorithms, ideally everyone's going to see what's happening, and the card is stacked. And once they see the card is stacked, and I know who that is. Oh, that Billy Starks wrestles on AEW. Oh, that guy wrestles for New Japan. That guy wrestled for Impact. Everybody on that card is either wrestled somewhere for a small time frame or is just got signed like Billy. So there's a mixing pot of talent from, again, across the country, from Vegas, everywhere. Like Jordan Oasis, he didn't talk about it too much, but he's wrestled in South Korea and Canada and Mexico. He's gone all over the country, and he's been doing this for 10 years out of the country. Like, he has made a name for himself, whether you recognize it or not.
Yeah, you got G Sharp, who's been just running roughshod over Las Vegas for the last year. Chris Brady, everybody's favorite homeboy, he's coming up from Oregon. Damian Drake, Las Vegas born, the 80s icon. Jacob Austin Young. I mean, it is a stacked card. I don't want to shortchange anybody. We're just kind of limited by time. Bodie Young, Prodigy. Really just some great, impactful wrestlers that are going to be in there. Now, is there a match that each of you have that you're really looking forward to that you want to make sure you mention?
Would you like to go first, D'Lo?
Oh, I'll just say this. I mean, there's not one match I want to point out because I don't want to shortchange the others.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to the entire card because I believe when it's all said and done, after 2.5 hours of wrestling, people are going to go, damn, that was worth my time, my money, my effort to be there. And now I get to go watch more wrestling, but I can't get that FSW wrestling out of my mind. So I think the whole card it's from top to bottom is going to be stellar, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing, but a couple matches that I would like to mention because I believe
Sure.
that they might be secret show stealers as well. Jacob Austin Young decided to call out Sonico a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonico sent me a message, and he's accepted the match. So
Okay.
Jacob Austin Young versus Sonico is a match that has been added to the event. I mentioned the three-way earlier with Tito, Hammerstone, and Juicy. I believe that, again, I wanted to book a big man's match, so when everybody comes out of that curtain, not that everyone else is little on the show, but these big guys are big guys. It's important to
Absolutely.
make the guys who Juicy, who's 400 pounds and is going to walk through that curtain, people will be like, holy shit, he's a lot bigger than Bodie Young Prodigy or Billy Starks or Matt Vandergriff. Not that Matt Vandergriff's small, but compared to a Juicy and a Tito and a Hammerstone going to be coming out, you're going to be hopefully eyes gazed wide once any three of those guys come through the curtain, jacked or just the size
Juicy's
that they
a large
are.
man.
Very, very much so. Yeah, and I mentioned Billy Starks and Matt Vandergriff, and I can go ahead and announce Bodie Young Prodigy's opponent.
Sure.
At the Future Legend tournament, it's going to be him, Starboy, and Billy Starks. But I really wanted to see him and Starboy go at it one more time. I saw it a few years ago, like a year ago. That is a match that I need a one-on-one of whatever the outcome may be at that tournament. I need to see that match happen. So Starboy Charlie versus Bodie Young Prodigy.
Yeah, another one of the stars of independent wrestling, Starboy Charlie. He gets talked about a lot.
Yep.
So
it's like
if you're into independent wrestling, you're looking at the forums and you're seeing some of these names and going back to the days of tape trading, you see the names and you've never seen them in a match. Definitely worth checking it out. And like I said, you can get it on Fite Plus. I reversed the time zones earlier. 12 Pacific time, 3 Eastern time, 2 Central on Sunday, May 28th. You can check out Go for Broke from Second Generation Pro Wrestling. So it's going to be a completely stacked show. Some of the biggest stars in independent wrestling right there in Las Vegas, the combat sports capital of the world, on the AEW pay-per-view weekend, Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a great event. I definitely look forward to seeing it. And I think people watching this can see the passion that you put into it and the amount of work that goes into putting on this show. It's, even in sports, nothing's easy, right? Nothing's given to you. You have to put in the work. You got to put in the effort to make something go. And that goes for all the wrestlers in the card and people like yourselves that are helping put it together. There's no easy path. A lot of times the answer is just hard work. And hopefully we'll see it all pay off here. I'm sure we will on Sunday the 28th.
Yeah. It's a lot more work than people might think, especially when there's stuff moving around. And again, I want to make the card perfect. I want to make the card from top to bottom. Everybody shines. Everybody stands out. The styles mesh perfect. And when you walk away from that show, I want that show to be the show of the weekend. I want every match on that card to be the match of the weekend. Like, I've put everyone together to hopefully, again, go out there and show out and do what they do best.
Yeah, and I know we're kind of winding down here. We're running up against time, but I did want to ask one more question because we have the opportunity to have pro wrestling legend, the legend of Las Vegas wrestling, D'Lo Brown, on here. It seems to me like the new generation of wrestlers, they just keep raising the level, the amount of work, the moves, the work rate that goes into the matches. It's really amazing to me what you see in an independent card or on a national level. I was able to go see Hilal Vikingo's first match in the U.S. against Kenny Omega, and just astonishing. It's amazing that a person can move like that, and you can see this great wrestling now at shows all over. It's really impressive how much there of rebirth there's been in pro wrestling. Did
Yeah, I
you
mean,
see this coming with snake pit wrestling a few years ago?
you can't see it coming, like, because to me, this is the most athletic generation of wrestlers I've ever seen, and I'm a historian of wrestling, and this is the most athletic generation. And when you have a place like Snake Pit or FSW where you get the vets who are a generation or two behind teaching, and you can harness that athleticism, but then give them the psychology and the where, the why, the when, and when they put it together, man, that's when it's poetry. When you see it in the ring, it's poetry in motion, and it is setting the bar and changing the business for the better, I believe. And that's what happens out here. I hate to say it, on a weekly basis. I don't want to sound
Yeah.
braggadocious, but that's what's happening out here. It's a cultural shift of what wrestling is becoming, and it started right here in Vegas. And now we get to turn the lights on for the whole world to see it, and invite some other guys in so they can see how things are done out here. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, just one more time to mention it. Go for Broke, Sunday, May 28th, the FSW Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada at noon. So you'll have plenty of time to go to the show and then still get to AEW. If you're not able to get down to Las Vegas, you can stream it on Fite TV. Joe, D'Lo, thanks a lot for joining us here on Wrestling with Sales to talk about the card and kind of what goes into putting it together, because I really do believe that people in any walk of life, any kind of sales environment can take lessons from the work that has to go into producing an event like this. And I appreciate so much you guys joining us and taking some time to talk about the show. I'm definitely looking forward to watching it myself, and I hope a lot of our viewers get a chance to tune in and check it out as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
Of
Appreciate it. Thank you
course.
for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And
Appreciate
make
you.
sure you tune into it on May 28th. Check out the Fite TV to get the live feed and see it for yourself at home. Till the next time of Wrestling with Sales, I'm Gerald Bentley. Thanks for stepping into the ring.